welcome to my free writing course. My name is Mahsuda. Today we are going to be looking at 3 tips for writing memorable characters. I'm one of those writers who really enjoys character. It's one of my favourite things to write about. But I've also come across problems with writing character when I can't quite get under their skin. So my number 1 tip for writing memorable characters is to get to know your character. How do you get to know your characters? Well, there's a couple of tricks you can use to help you with that. Some writers do a character profile where they write a list of questions, where they come from, where they were born, what's their favourite colour. But even then, I think you don't really get under your character's skin in the way you need to really get to know them. An exercise I give to writers in class is to write a description of your character's bedroom. Why a bedroom? Because it's usually in our bedrooms that we will express ourselves as people in a way that we might not do in other parts of the house. So there might be pictures up or particular furniture in the room that kind of expresses something about ourselves. There might be a journal tucked under the bed. There might be a particular photograph that is precious to that character. And if it's a very stark bedroom with very little in it, that also reveals a lot about your character. So as an exercise, I would focus on 3 or 4 objects in your character's bedroom and try and describe them and how they are connected to your character. I think you'll be surprised about how much that reveals. Another way of doing this is thinking of 5 things your character carries around with them. I say 5 because 2 or 3 will probably come straight to mind. So writing about those extra 2 will really get you under the skin of your character and think about what drives them and what they need. Try not to make those objects too ordinary. As interesting as a tissue is, that's probably not going to reveal a lot about your character unless it's a blood-soaked tissue, in which case there's a whole story there. That moves on nicely to my tip number 2, which is to make your characters distinctive. Now, if you've got a story or novel where there's a lot of characters, it can be really easy to get confused between different characters. So there's really simple techniques you can use to make each character distinctive. What I do is to make sure all my characters have names that don't start with the same letter. Another thing you can do is to change the gender of some characters. So if you've got a really male-dominated story, perhaps think about changing some of your characters to females and see what happens. Does it even make a difference? And if it does, how does it? Now, the best way I think of making a character distinct is to give them a memorable trait. So this might be a speech pattern that they particularly use, it might be the way they look, it might be the way they walk, or a style of clothing that they always wear. A word of warning though is to not overdo this. You don't want paragraphs and paragraphs of description about each individual character. All you really need is a line or 2. Simple is always best. My number 3 tip is to decide your character's wants. So I talked a bit about this in my workshop about plotting a novel. Finding out your character's wants not only gives you a drive through your novel, but also helps you as a writer find out what your character is really about. Having a character who wants to win the race because they want to get the prize and the glory of that prize is very different from having a character who wants to win the race because they want the prize money to help a loved one out of a really tricky situation that could jeopardise their life. Now, you could have those 2 characters in the same story and instantly you have tension. So another thing to think about when thinking about your character's wants is to think about all of your character's wants and whether they can go in opposition with each other. If you have opposition, you have tension, and story is all about tension. This was my free writing channel. Please subscribe if you would like to see more of these videos. And if you'd like me to make more videos, you can support me by buying me a coffee on the Ko-fi link below. Thank you for joining me, and remember, everyone's writing journey is different, so find the path that works for you.